Alright, so now we're going to knit the Fairisle toddler yoke sweater back.
Okay, so today we are going to knit the back of this little teeny tiny yoke sweater. And we are going to take the first side that we did, and we are going to hang it over 37 left and 37 right. I'm just going to take my carriage across, bring out my stuff, and hanging just that first row of knitting, which for me was white. So I'm just going to keep hanging the stitches on the needles from center to 37 and 37. Okay, so I have my first 37 on. You can see that I have lots left over for the sleeve. I'm going to go over to the next side. You get the idea. Okay, here's the last few stitches. There we go. All forward. Now I want to weigh this down a lot more than just a couple claw weights, so I'm going to remove my claw weights and use triangle weights. I'm going to put one on each side. And just eyeball it. Doing a deep breath. Roll count at 0, 0, 0. Tension's not changing. It's still at 7. I'm going to use the pretty green. I'm on the left-hand side. There is no patterning anymore in this project, so I'm just going to start knitting across. And we're going to do an increase every row for the next 3 rows. Here we go. Now, I'm going to use 3 prongs to do the increase. Push the ball back. Deep breath. Knit across again. Now I'm going to use 2 instead of 3. You should be at 39 and 39. Try and remember to clip your yarn tail. Deep breath. We're going to knit across and do a whole bunch of increases here on the right hand side. We're now going to increase a whopping 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to do the double E wrap because I found that it was way neater. So we're going to take the yarn, purl bump, with those stitches back. We're going to put it on stitch 40. Bring those stitches back forward, and then E-wrap, double E-wrap, sorry, to secure those stitches. And then we have more space for a claw weight. So I'll bring back one of my claw weights, gently work it into those little holes that are formed, and then bring those stitches a little bit forward. All right, we are now going to, hang on, I have my claw weight just a little bit too far in, making sure that we still have those stitches. Deep breath. Knitting across to the left for row 4. I need to increase the left hand side. So we are going to do the same E-wrap up to 44 and 44. Now, I actually forgot to do the left-hand side 2 rows ago, because as it turns out, I was supposed to do the increase on this side 2 rows prior to that one. So I wasn't paying attention, and I'm sorry. But we're doing it now. It's not a big deal. It's not going to make a big difference in the grand scheme. This is knitting. This isn't sewing. You won't notice the difference. Going across for row 5. Now we have 86 more rows to knit for a total of 93 rows, and then we do ribbing. This is row 20. It's going to get pretty boring, so I am just going to pause the video and we'll catch up just before we get to 93 rows. Alright, we are meeting back at 73 rows. We're going to do another 20 together. Okay, this is row 90, 91, 92, and 93. Now, at this time, you have choices. You can bring up a ribber, or you can play with the garter carriage. So I'm going to put the ribber back on, I'm going to transfer, and we're going to finish it the regular way. No garter carriage. So we'll come back when I have the ribber on the machine. Okay, ribber's engaged. Putting my yarn into my carriage. Whew. Now we need to decide if we want 1 by 1 or 2 by 2. I think we'll stick with 2 by 2 because then that'll match the collar. So we're just going to transfer our yarn in a 2 by 2 pattern, starting with the second needle in. This gets pretty boring, so we'll come back when I'm on the other side. Okay, so now we're going to do the last 2. Everything looks good. Now we need to decide what we want to do for the tension. When we did tension 3 on the collar, I think it was way too tight. And my knitting buddy also said that was a little rough. So we're going to do tension 5 and tension 5. We think that's probably enough for the yarn. And we need to put in our ribber comb. So I'm going to find my ribber comb. Goody. I get to use my favorite one. If you ever find a short one like this, invest in it. They're nice for little projects like this. All right, I'm just going to transfer my weights from my wedge weights or triangle combs up to the edges. I'm then going to remove the claw weights and the triangle weights because we no longer need them. Deep breath. I want to make sure that our yarn's not going to get caught. We do not need to do any circular rows. We should, however, reset our row counter. And I'm thinking we should do 15 rows right off the bat, and then we'll check to see the depth, if that makes any logical sense. There's nothing special going on. We're at 5 and 5. No part buttons, no tuck buttons. Everything is golden. Okay, now I think maybe we need a little bit more weight, so I'm going to add 1 barrel weight to the center. And now we'll keep going. Is everything looking good? All right, let's take a look. I'm going to lower the camera so you can see what I'm looking at. Okay, you can see here that we have a pretty acceptable depth for the ribbing. So we're going to call it here, transfer the stitches, and then cast off. Okay, so now I'm going to raise the beds again. Move my yarn over. Just going to lower these down and transfer. So we're just going to transfer them back up here. I am seriously considering taking apart the ribber and cleaning the needles. I think there may be one or two that are bent, but that's for another video. All right, you get the idea. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're at the last two. It looks pretty good to me. I am just going to exaggerate the loop. So it's greater than 10. I believe you get the idea as to what I'm doing. So we'll come back when we're on this side. All right, we're on the left side. Sorry about the shaking camera. I'll leave myself a little bit of a yarn tail. Gonna remove all the weights. Bring these forward. Just like we did the collar. Moving my cast on. And now I'm just going to latch tool. From the left to the yarn tail on the right. Okay. Another long boring process. We'll come back when we're on the right. Alright, so here's the last few. I'm watching to make sure that the yarn doesn't get split over the latch on the needle. Every now and then they do. So you'll see me push it back and then come forward again. So last 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm going to give this 2 extra, and that's the pretty ribbing. So there we go, that's the back. On the next video, we're going to knit the front.
Next up, we knit the front.